Well, good morning all, and thank you for joining us this morning. We are absolutely delighted to have Roger Krone join us today. He is Chairman and CEO of Leidos. Roger, thank you very much for coming all the way from Annapolis. And as we launch, I'd like to thank our Tysons sponsors for making this morning's breakfast possible. And they are Signature Platinum sponsor, Consumer Technology Association, Platinum sponsors, George Washington University, and Transformation Systems, Inc. Good. Silver sponsors, Cox Business, Enterprise Holding, Inc., M&I Targeted Media, Serco, Travelers Insurance, TTR Sotheby's International Realty, and Uninet. And our media sponsors are iHeartMedia and Redskins Radio, ESPN 980. Please help me thank these outstanding companies for their generous support. Now I recognize my fellow NVTC officers and board of director members. If you're here, please raise your hands. Feel free to stand. And it's an honor, it really is an honor to serve with such a distinguished group of business and civic leaders. Thank you very much. And the names of our companies and board members are included in today's events program. In addition, I'm pleased to announce that we do have a special guest here today, and that would be Paul Reagan, Chief of Staff, Office of the Governor, Terry McAuliffe. Paul, are you here? Can you raise your hand? Great. Paul, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time. Now I'd like to highlight some important dates and programs upcoming at NVTC. A quick reminder for anyone who wants to tweet from this morning's event, we will be using hashtag NVTC. Stay tuned. I'm especially excited to announce that NVTC will be hosting the second annual Capital Cybersecurity Summit. This will be held on November 14th and 15th. And this will highlight the region's unique cybersecurity assets, a real important initiative. This summit will feature keynote remarks by FBI Deputy Assistant Director of Cyber Intelligence, Outreach and Support, that's Howard Marshall, as well as several panels offering unique insights on topics such as cloud security, compliance, federal cyber acquisition, cybersecurity risk management, and the life cycle of a breach. The summit will also feature a technology showcase of the region's top security companies, offering unprecedented networking opportunities with both cybersecurity. This will include buyers and sellers. So there are a few remaining sponsorships and exhibitor spots still available. Please contact Yolanda Lee to secure your spot. And you can find more out about the summit agenda, speaker, and registration at capitalcybersummit.com. And then on December 11th, I invite you to join us at the biggest networking event of the year. This one's a great event, NVTC's Tech Celebration Banquet. This event will feature remarks from none other than Senator John McCain, this year's recipient of the prestigious Pinnacle Award for his extraordinary leadership and service to our country. In addition, Tech Celebration will feature the announcement of the winners of the 2017 NVTC Tech Awards. Also, we will announce the winner of the second annual NVTC Veterans Employment Initiative Veterans Service Award. This is given to an NVTC member company that has demonstrated a superlative level of engagement with the VEI in support for veteran and military community, a very important cause, very near and dear to NVTC and its members. Nominations for this award will be open through November 3rd, so please submit your nomination today. Finally, mark your calendars for our next two Titans events. I think these are equally great. On January 31st, we'll host a panel discussion on deep machine learning and AI. This will feature Melvin Greer. He's the Chief Data Officer for Intel Corporation. John Koffold, CEO of Deep Learning Analytics, and Ravi Papu, who's the Chief Architect for InQtel. Then on April 3rd, we'll welcome Teresa Carlson. As you may well know, she is the Vice President, Worldwide Public Sector for Amazon. She will be our keynote speaker. So now, please enjoy your breakfast, and our program will resume shortly. Well, hello again. At this point, let's recognize our all-important NVTC business partners. Each of these companies helps make the work of the Council possible throughout the year. And they are Booz Allen Hamilton, CIT, CGI, Deloitte, Deltek, Dominion Energy, DXC Technology, today, ICF, Innova Center for Personalized Health, KPMG, Maximus, Microsoft, Monster, Noblesse, Northrop Grumman Corporation, PenFed, Pillsbury, PNC Bank, PwC, SAIC, Venable, and Verizon. Good crowd. We have more. Our academic partner is Northern Virginia Community College. Our media partners include Scoop News Group and Washington Technology. And our premier hospitality partner is none other than the Ritz-Carlton Tysons Corner. And lastly, our PR marketing advisor is the Merit Group. Thank you all. Appreciate it. It is now my sincere honor to introduce today's keynote speaker. Roger Krone was named Chairman and CEO of Leidos in July of 2014. Before joining Leidos, Roger served as President of Network and Space Systems for the Boeing Company and a Director of Financial Planning, Vice President, and Treasurer for McDonnell Douglas. He also had a 14-year career at General Dynamics, where he had positions in program management, engineering, and finance. Roger has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from the Georgia Institute of Technology. He also has a master's degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Texas at Arlington, and he has a master's of business administration from the Harvard Graduate School of Business. Roger is both a licensed commercial pilot and a certified public accountant. He's also a fellow of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics and a fellow of the Royal Aeronautical Society in the none other than United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a warm welcome for Roger Krone.
Thanks, Rich. That introduction always creates an image of I'm doing general ledger entries while I'm flying an airplane or something. I'm not sure how that works. So when Rich and Bobby asked me to come speak, they said, would you be okay with speaking on Friday the 13th? And I said, well, okay, if that's what we have to do. I had no idea it would be Friday the 13th after the Nationals lost Game 5. Let's see, so for those of you who were at the game and were able to get up this morning and come here to the Ritz, thank you for coming. I know actually talking to quite a few of with the great situation we have with Metro, a lot of people were up until the wee hours. I will admit that I gave up early and went to bed, not to be surprised again. But it is what it is. What I'd like to do this morning is talk a little bit about the company, a little bit about the merger, which I think is a topic everybody has some interest in, and then I'm going to make some general comments about what's going on in our industry and maybe talk a little bit about people and the resources and what really makes up a company like Leidos. And then if I talk quickly, we should have a couple minutes at the end, and we've got some microphones out, and we can take some questions. So again, thanks for getting up and coming and being here this morning. And it's really a privilege to be here today, and I'm actually taken back a little bit by the size of the crowd. So it must be the food. Let's see, so I'm actually, it seems like just yesterday, but I'm in my 4th year as the CEO at Leidos. And it's really been a great time to be with the company. I can't tell you how much of an honor it has been to lead this almost 50-year-old company, nor how committed I am personally, given all the things that I've done and the different companies that I've worked for, to follow our 32,000 teammates at Leidos. As many of you know, we were the former SAIC, founded in 1969 by Bob Beister, and we have predominantly been an employee-owned company, having gone public literally just in the last decade. As mentioned in my bio, I retired from Boeing, and I came to Leidos, and I came because I thought that I could make a difference. And I came with the goal of stabilizing the company after the SAIC split, preserving our technical excellence and the culture of innovation, and then driving new sources of growth, really to set the company up to be a leader in the marketplace. I made a commitment to make Leidos a great place to come to work, a topic I'll end with today. And by the way, I'm pleased to report, kind of 4 years later, that we are well on our way to accomplishing all of those objectives. Let's see, over the past few years, of course, our industry has gone through significant change, challenging all of us to transform the way we do business. As a result, there's been a huge uptick in the number of mergers and acquisitions taking place, which is really where I want to start my discussions this morning. And just yesterday, I guess it's now 2 days ago, we saw another mergers of companies in our sector as DXC, if I think I get this right, I think DXC and Mike Lowry spun off their public services business in another Reverse Morris Trust, interesting, in a combination with the 2 properties owned by Veritas, including Vencor. Now, as many of you know, last year we completed our own Reverse Morris Trust transaction and combined with Lockheed Martin's former Information Systems and Global Solutions business, or ISGS as we prefer to call it. So many people want to know, how did we do it? And maybe more importantly, why? And of course, everybody wants to know, how is it going? So by the numbers, we used a combination of stock and cash to engage in this structure called a Reverse Morris Trust. By the way, Morris Trust is a bank. It is not a legal structure, for those of you who haven't experienced that. And it has to deal with really the first transaction of its kind, and it had to do with a savings and loan called Morris Trust. But in a Reverse Morris Trust transaction with Lockheed to merge with their IS&G business. We negotiated the deal over the holiday break. Why does it always happen over the holiday break? In 2016, and we signed the merger agreement on the 25th of January in 2016, so it was actually the 2015 holiday break. And then after clearing regulatory approval, which always takes about 9 months, we closed the merger on August 16th of last summer of 2016. This $5 billion transaction allowed us to combine the 2 complementary businesses to create, once again, a new Leidos. We now have over 32,000 employees performing really important work in over 330 locations around the world. We're in more than 30 countries, including Antarctica. Pause. I have come to learn that Antarctica is actually not a country. It is a continent, a treaty, but it is actually not a country. And we have a run rate of about $10 billion and a quarter. At least that's our latest guidance that we have out on the street. So we had 4 objectives in the merger. The first was to improve our market position in what we felt was an attractive and growing sector of our industry. expand our scale, and diversify our portfolio, strengthen our core capabilities, and frankly, improve our financial profile. We felt that the merger would address all of these strategic objectives, and indeed it has. We essentially doubled our contract base, and we added dozens of long-term customer relationships and customer contracts. We increased our company's size by any relevant measure, giving us more discretionary dollars to help us deliver value to our customers and grow the business. We strengthened and expanded our core capabilities, and in addition, we increased our market capitalization, our shareholder base, our top line, and our bottom line financial performance. So today, 14 months later, I get many questions about, so given all that, how is integration going? And somewhat surprising, it's going really, really well. We made a critical decision on day one to restack the company. So we literally took all of the programs and sorted by customer and created newly aligned businesses that were customer focused. And that was a really, really good decision for us, as it enabled the immediate merger of the businesses, and more importantly, it enabled the people to start feeling like a new combined team from the beginning. As a result, we're ahead of our integration plans, and we have achieved our planned synergies earlier than we anticipated. Now, on the other hand, I would also comment that the integration of the IT back end of the business has proven to be all of the challenge that we thought it would be. Moving any large entity to a common integrated platform for HR, contracts, supplier management, and the general ledger can be a daunting task, and indeed it has been. Our functional leaders are working hard to accomplish all of that, and we will complete the complete back office conversion by the end of the year this year. All that being said, I want to emphasize that mergers and acquisitions can be a very tough business. You have to operate the business while you build a new organization. You have to pivot to growth while working on cost savings. You need to preserve the strength of the two heritage entities while creating a new corporate culture. And achieving the benefits of the combination always results in a reduction in indirect staff, not a job for the faint of heart. Now, I'm an aerospace engineer at heart and a pilot, and what gets me excited is the fact that this transaction enabled us to get back to investing in the research and innovation that our company was founded on nearly 50 years ago. My job is to lay the groundwork that will propel us for the next 50 years. The strength of the new Leidos, and really all of the companies that work within this market, is a contribution we collectively bring to our customer and the scientific community, and how we position those capabilities to make the world safer, healthier, and more efficient, and a great place for our children and our grandchildren. Now, we are a company that feels that we make a difference. We're a company that matters, that works on big societal problems. And that's our life's work. And we learned in our recent employee value proposition survey, it is the #1 reason why people come to work at Leidos. So with the merger mostly behind us, we as a company are asking the question, well, what do we do next? And to answer that, we look to our customers. We're driven by our customers and their enduring needs. On any given day, it can be hard to understand where the federal government is going, but the long-term direction is clear. Leveraging technology and innovation in the private sector to enhance mission effectiveness is a great place to be. Everywhere we look, we see customers using IT, engineering, and science to drive mission efficiency. At Leidos, we employ some of the best and brightest scientific minds in the business. We have over 1,100 PhDs and 7,000 master's degrees. Many of these people are recognized within our organization through our Tech Fellows programs. These employees represent the pinnacle of our technical talent and possess both depth and breadth of experience that allows us to apply emerging and proven concepts across our expanded multiple markets. We empower these technical experts to execute our research and development projects and to maintain our competitive edge. Following the merger with the legacy IS&GS business, we have expanded our core capabilities and offered a more diverse set of subject matter experts for our customers. I want to briefly share a few of the enhanced capabilities we're currently excited about at Leidos. We are focused on enterprise IT modernization, including software-defined networks, quantum computing, and advanced cloud systems. As you all know, we run the Global Solutions Management's Operations Program at DISA, supporting over 3 million users of the DoD networks at over 450 sites. We currently support the U.S. Department of Defense as the prime contractor on the MHS Genesis program. This is an electronic health record system that has the potential to profoundly impact the lives of 9.4 million servicemen and women around the world, their families, as well as 325,000 healthcare providers within the department. We continue to invest in advancing our cybersecurity technology, data analytics capability, and advanced threat detection algorithms. Our biometrics tools are capable of processing 93 million fingerprints in less than 6 minutes with a 99.6% accuracy. Another leading-edge program we're currently working on is in support of the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, or IARPA. We're developing a set of sensors and methodologies to forecast cyber attacks. Studies show that the detection of cyber attack typically occurs in the later stages of a multi-phased attack, and in many cases is discovered by external parties other than the victim organization. The IARPA CAUSE program will forecast and detect cyber attacks significantly earlier than existing methods, giving organizations the time to prepare a response. Think left of X. Aviation and transportation security is also a major focus for us. Following the merger with the legacy IS&GS business, Leidos now manages more than 60% of the world's air traffic. Our airport systems optimize the travel experience of more than 1.3 airline passengers each year. The team is continuously working to develop new technology that optimizes efficiency and safety while enhancing a passenger's overall travel experience. As an avid user of the air traffic control system, I appreciate firsthand the efficient use of airspace governed by the FAA and implemented through the contracts we have, such as the Leidos ERAM and TBFM. Additionally, we have our sensors and data collection systems enhanced by the merger. We're proud of these capabilities because they keep the men and women in our military out of harm's way. We're currently working with the Army on the Airborne Reconnaissance Low Enhanced Program, commonly referred to as ARLE, where we're working to upgrade the Army's aircraft with new sensors and electronics. On the maritime side, we also support DARPA with the Sea Hunter program, which is our highly autonomous unmanned vessel that is capable of operating over thousands of kilometers on the open sea for months at a time without any human intervention. These are just a few of the exciting programs and capabilities we're working on. As you can see at Leidos, we really love a good challenge, and it's what drives our culture of innovation. Much of the future is unknown to us, but we believe we have successfully repositioned and strengthened our company by combining with IS&GS, which has given us a sharper focus and a greater opportunity for growth. As I mentioned a few times already this morning, our people at Leidos are critical to our success. I'm sure you would say the same thing in your business. Our employees are important. They're our most valuable asset. And our industry is experiencing some interesting employment trends, the effects of which we're all feeling. Job creation here in Northern Virginia is important to all of us. We currently employ over 6,500 people in the state of Virginia. In the defense, intel, civil, and healthcare industries, there are many types of jobs that are very difficult to fill right now. Jobs like data scientists, information security analysts, and software engineers. Academia is helping with some of these emerging areas, with universities introducing majors like data science to students. However, there are some roles, like an information security position, that still require higher learning and experience. Layer on top of that, of the technical needs, the fact that many positions in our industry also require candidates to have a security clearance, and the scarce resources become even more so. In addition, several other trends amplify the need for qualified talent over the next 5 to 10 years, including our aging workforce and retirements that will increase position vacancies. It puts us all in a difficult position, but one in which we're able to showcase our unique culture and program offerings to current and potential employees. At Leidos, we will hire 6,000 people in 2017, with areas of focus on analysis, development, and the security of information, software, and systems. We believe the addition of the IS&GS business to our portfolio has fundamentally changed Leidos to be a more innovative, more competitive, and by extension, more attractive place for potential employees. We now have a workforce of 32,000 amazing individuals, more than 12,000 of which hold a security clearance. Close to 60% of our employees have a STEM degree. I'm very proud to have about 20% of our employees to be veterans. So what we're trying to do is to best address the changing landscape, and we believe last year's transaction positions us well for the future. At Leidos, we believe we can offer more than a job, but a career with multiple positions on multiple programs, while using staff redeployment to give our team the diversity of experience that they are seeking. So we've been able to expand our scale and diversity, strengthen our core capabilities, and improve our financial profile, all while optimizing our position in both new and existing markets. So change has served us well. That being said, I won't stand here and tell you it's been a simple or painless process. There are a myriad of complexities you just never expect when you embark on this type of journey. But we've met those challenges, and we've become a stronger organization for having experienced them. Large M&A transactions may appear fun on the outside, but inside there's a lot of hard work by a lot of people. Maybe too many nights and weekends are sacrificed to make all this happen. And to make it all come together are some really hard decisions about people, organization, and strategy. A friend and a fellow leader in the industry recently asked me if I had any advice for others attempting this type of M&A deal, and I thought I'd share with you 4 things that I shared with him. First, know your business. Have a strategy and stick to it. Identify your weak points and ensure that they have been addressed before you further complicate them by adding new lines of business to the mix. Second, identify a group of leaders and high potential employees who you trust, because you will eat, sleep, and breathe with them until the project is complete. A deal of this size can be a major distraction for an organization, and you are asking people to add all of this on top of their day job. Dedicating a team to managing the deal enables the rest of the business to continue to run as smoothly as it possibly can. Third, don't operate in the dark. Ask for advice, seek counsel, and implement sanity checks along the way. In fact, many of the people here in some of the advisory services were our advisors in many different ways, tax matters, corporate structure, legal matters on this deal. Most of these deals, especially, by the way, the Reverse Morris Trust, our investment bank said, Reverse Morris Trust, everyone has done one. There's been thousands of these things done. And we announced our deal in January. We found out we were the 13th. And when we went out to the street, we had to keep telling them, well, this is what a Reverse Morris Trust is. This is what a Reverse Morris Trust was. And we had to do a lot of education along the way. So most of these deals involved uncharted territory. No matter how much experience you have, you're going to run into something you have never seen before. Surround yourself with people who will focus on the solutions. And finally, never lose focus on the people. At the end of the day, that's all you have, and you're influencing people's lives. And by the way, many people who had no voting decision in whether you do the transaction or not. And so there are going to be hard decisions along the way and a lot of uncertainty throughout the process. Ensure that you're keeping people informed, and most importantly, remember to take time to listen. Of course, that probably only scratches the surface, but those are the main principles that I believe were important to our success, and I hope you'll find them helpful. Again, I want to thank you for coming this morning and attending, and we'd be happy to take a few questions if you have anything you want to follow up on. And again, thanks for coming this morning. Super.
So as Roger says, he's kind enough to stay for a bit and take some questions. We do have microphones, I think, at 2 locations in the room. As you step up to the microphone, please tell us your name and your company. And as always, no questions from the media, please. And we do pride ourselves in wrapping up on time. That's out of respect for Roger's time and, most importantly, your time, so you can go to your real day jobs and get some work done. And accordingly, we're going to limit the questions today to, what do you think, Roger, 60, 70 questions? Please, questions for
Sounds like an earnings call. So, sure. Hopefully there was someone who didn't stay up all night and watch the game. Yes, sir. And if you would just tell me, maybe identify yourself and the company that you're with. And the first question will come from PwC.
Thanks, Roger. Sean Ballington of PwC. You know, Roger, as you go through the transaction like this, you know, what was the 1 or 2 things that maybe were, I don't want to say more difficult, but maybe was very different to what you might have expected, just from, you know, from your own experiences? Were there 1 or 2 things that were different that you really didn't expect?
Yeah, kind of a great question. I think we anticipated the complexity of the deal. Actually, a lot of the things I didn't expect were how well some things went. The people integration went a lot faster than we had thought, and I think that had to do with IS&GS being in strategic review for a full year before we got involved in the transaction. I think maybe the biggest surprise, and the biggest surprise for me in coming to Leidos, having spent most of my career in what I'd call the more OEM aerospace and defense business, is the ability of companies like Leidos and IS&GS to generate cash. And it's really sort of a wonderful experience for me. And remember, I came from a company that prided themselves in having the world's largest building, to have huge amounts of dollars tied up in deferred production accounts, and had capital expenditures, you know, in the, 8 and 9 and 10 digits. And IS&GS, Leidos, in fact, many of the companies here have a terrific cash conversion model. And we were able to maintain that through the merger and integration, and our ability to generate cash and to pay down debt, and actually to get ahead of our debt pay down schedule, was really a tribute to the team keeping the engine running and operating and getting billings done, and continue to do our cash sweeps and things. So that was great. To say, a reverse Morris trust is a simple transaction, I think would be misleading. It looked easy on paper, and if you read our proxy and our filings, we had the boxes and the lines. And I look back at it now and I said, ooh, that was complicated, wasn't it? And the number of entities that we had to create and the legal structure behind a reverse Morris trust, and frankly, some of the restrictions we have now on operating and having to keep the heritage businesses separate until they become old and cold. You know, again, on the PowerPoint charts, it looked pretty simple and straightforward, but actually getting that structure in place and getting the legal entities created and then getting the transaction closed, it was exactly what we expected, but it did take a significant amount of time and a lot of legwork. Our law team, which by the way, I have a terrific law team at the company, really did a yeoman's duty to get all of the filings and all of the special purpose corporations created that we needed to get the deal completed. But thanks for the question. Yes, sir.
Hey, Roger. My startup, which is called MeSpoke, benefited from meeting with the Honorable John Thompson once, the chairman of Microsoft in Tampa. He very eloquently said one thing to us, and he said, I want you to leave with this thought. You would think that he would say something very profound. Mr. Thompson said, what are you doing to get butts out of seats? So my question is one of workforce management and your general thought around getting butts out of seats.
Yeah, and I touched on that a little bit in my prepared remarks, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to either, frankly, underemphasize it nor overemphasize it. The way these transactions work, and you've all been involved with them in one way or another, you make your money with your direct charge labor, and because we are essentially a people company, we have some products. But most of what we do is related to the staff that is working with our customer. And so you have two groups of people. You have people who charge direct and people who are in overhead and G&A. And when you merge two companies, almost by definition, you're going to have two people doing the same job in the indirect accounts. And so you know from the beginning that when the dust settles, there's probably only going to be room for one. And oh, by the way, if we take the best of breed and we modernize our IT backbone and we move to a new general ledger, we might even be able to do it with less than one, because we find that some of the IS and GS businesses hasn't been fully integrated and they weren't on like a common GL platform. And so what we did, and I think what you have to do, is to be as open and as honest as you can with everyone who's likely to be involved. And then you do the right thing and you put retention agreements in place, and you kind of get out your pocketbook and your wallet and you say, I don't know either what the future will be, but you are highly valued for the next 2 years because we're going to go through a general ledger migration. And you put things in place to retain the key employees. And by the way, you do that with your indirect. You also do it with your direct too, because the unfortunate thing around mergers, and I'm sure Mike and Mac will learn this on the DXC transaction, is the recruiters love M&A because they create unrest amongst the people, and maybe someone who wasn't thinking about changing jobs, when they understand that the name on the front of the door is going to change, normally they would not take a call from a recruiter. That they will take a call if they're involved in a transaction. It's really up to leadership in the company to reach out to the employees, to let them know how valued they are. But I think the best thing that we can do is to be absolutely transparent as to what our plan is. And we lost some people we didn't want to lose, and I had conversations with some of them as they were transitioning out, and I said, you were one of our most valued employees. You knew that your job was safe. You had a great future with this large and expanded company. Why are you leaving? And it was like, well, there's change, and, I thought maybe now would be a good time. And I look at those cases and say, well, did we do enough? Did we do enough? Do I have enough town halls, enough all hands, enough, video chats with our team to really get the message out? And I'll tell you, you do all you can, and then, a year later, you look back and say, did we do enough? Again, at a company like Leidos, we are our people. And so things like benefits and paid time off and all are really, really important. And we've been trying to make the right decisions to build the workforce of the future and the workforce that will propel us into the next 50 years. Yes, sir.
Mark Judson with the IM Sensor. Really fascinated by this merger, and one of the things that stuck out to me is when you were talking about how the back-end integration was indeed the challenge that was anticipated. But as you start to look at IT governance following an acquisition or merger, what have you found to be something that works well as you start to align business systems? And what advice would you give to large organizations that are going through some sort of modernization transformation process today?
Yeah, okay, great. So the question is around the IT back end and what processes worked well and what advice do we have? So, not in my resume, at least as we talked about it today, but somewhere in my history, I did a tour of duty through internal ITS back in McDonnell Douglas, believe it or not. I was there when we went from mainframe to 3-tier client server, which was a big transformational journey for many of us. And every engineer wanted their own server, right? And they had one under their desk, by the way. Until no filtered air, no UPS, no nothing. It was free the people. Everybody had a server, right? Until the servers went down, right? And then what did we do? We collected all the servers. We put them in that room that we had that used to house the mainframe. And now what we've done, we've gone to cloud computing, which is timeshare. So unfortunately, all the lessons in IT are lessons that we learn, we relearn, and we learn again. The advice that I would give is, remember, I came from some fairly large aerospace and defense companies that had a lot of product content. And therefore, their direct to indirect ratios were significantly different than what we find in our industry, kind of being in a solutions and services industry. And so a company like Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, or General Dynamics can afford to spend the money to get it exactly right before they implement. That's not the way we are. We are good enough is good enough. We don't want in our rate structure the pinnacle of the IT platforms that you can buy today. Sure, we're on Workday, we're moving to Deltek, we're moving to a unified procurement organization, but we have taken a view of good enough, not perhaps best in class, because our customers have sent us strong messages, given wrap rates that they want us to have, is that we can't afford to have best in class. And so once you've made that decision, then the other point I would make is we call it the rip the Band-Aid off mentality, right? Which is, yeah, if I took 6 more months, I could make the migration a little less painful and it would run more smooth. But I'd also be carrying 2 organizations that support both an Oracle General Ledger and a Deltek General Ledger, and that goes into my overhead, and that goes into my wrap rate, and that creates a competitive disadvantage. And so we have said we need to be compliant, we need to have our CAS accounting system, right? We need to be able to publish forward pricing rates, we need to be able to write proposals, to bid and to bill. But once we've got that, then the philosophy that we took was, then we're going to go. And we have told the users, especially the users that came from Lockheed, because Lockheed was indeed a large integrated aerospace company, This isn't going to be like Lockheed, where you may not get someone that comes by your desk and explains how the new desktop works, and you may not go to 40 hours of training. We're going to do some online computer training, and then we're going to go. And you all are really, really smart people, all right? And you need to be able to read the manual and kind of sort it out as you go. In fact, we have a large number of our employees are millennials. Frankly, I would submit they know more about these IT systems than sometimes even our IT group. And so you don't need to get it 100% right to migrate. I would tell you, you're better off migrating on time or early with about 80, 90% right, and then asking your team to be flexible and to bend, because ultimately there's not a customer out there that I meet with who says, up at DISA or at the FAA or at NASA, who says, gosh, Roger, it's great to have you here today. I am so glad you have a world-class general ledger, all right? No, what they say is, thank heavens that you reduced the cost basis of IS&GS, and you've actually given me money back on my contract within my fiscal year so I can go fund enhancements on my program and do more with less. So anyway, that's a little bit of our journey. Yes, sir.
Frank Blackstone with Blackstone Counsel. I handled a bunch of M&As and observed a bunch of M&As. One of your interesting comments was you restacked to be able to identify how you could integrate. And that has what I found, the integration after the mergers and acquisitions tend to be the most difficult. What were your guiding principles to try and sort of relieve the stress of ex-Leidos, SAIC, and ex-Lockheed?
Right, okay, great question. So the question was around the organization we put in day one, our restacking, and what did we do to try to build the new culture and to kind of put to bed the heritage Lockheed and the heritage Leidos. Sort of like we did 50 or 60 things, and I'd love to tell you which one of the 50 or 60 actually worked. So let me talk about the restacking. We used consultants. We talked about organization. By the way, we studied a lot of other deals that were done in the space, some of which you might have been involved in. We looked at what we thought was successful about those transactions and not. Many of us had lived the transactions. I was at McDonnell Douglas when we were bought by Boeing. Jim Reagan, our CFO, a whole series of transactions. So we had a lot of experience as to what seemed to work and what didn't. And we just made a decision, again, this is a little bit of that rip off the Band-Aid, is if you wait, you're just going to wait. Right? And the longer you allow enclaves of the heritage organization to continue, the longer it's going to take to address sort of this organizational culture. But we made this strong decision that said, well, we're going to be capability organized, or we're going to be customer organized. And I would argue there are three ways to organize. You can do geographic, you can do capability, or you can do customer. And we really got the leadership team together, our consultants, and we're blessed with a very active and involved board of directors who gave us a lot of advice. And we just said, this is our whole business is about our customer and delivering service. And we wanted to be able to go to a customer and say, this person is dedicated to you. And this business unit, this group we call operations division, is dedicated to you. So we're going to go collect all of the work for the Army and put it in one organization. So there'll be no doubt, Secretary of the Army, the Assistant Secretary for Logistics and Technology, that who to call, kind of one-stop shopping. Now a little bit about the culture and the cultural integration. So by the way, we are purple. All right, you may have noticed that. I don't know if you all went to AUSA, but if you rode the Metro on AUSA, you got to see a lot of purple. And I think we did all the right things. We sent purple material out to everybody's homes. We had purple celebrations. We actually have an ice cream truck we took to a lot of Lockheed locations. We did some sponsorship. We did, Melissa Koskovich and Michelle Wagner and our PA team did a fantastic job of allowing people to sort of embrace sort of the purple culture, which really is this cool color now because it's kind of the color of innovation. But we were also lucky. First and foremost, our company had been built by organic growth, but a lot of acquisitions. And so if you know the old SAIC, we bought Beck and Benham and Max IT and Vitalize and Hicks and Associates. So SAIC/Leidos was really created with strong organic growth, but a lot of inorganic growth. So we understand how to integrate people into our company. And it turns out, as we got to know IS and GS better, so were they. So they were, L3 or Loral, RCA, GE, Solutions Made Simple, QTC. So they had been put together under Camardo and Linda Gooding by a lot of inorganic combinations. And we sort of found that they were an organization sort of looking for a unifying culture. And then they had been in strategic review literally for a year prior to the transaction. And if you've ever been in a strategic review or been what seemed to be an organization within a large organization that was going to go through transition, you are looking for a home. And so they sort of embraced sort of the Leidos and the purple, and we spent a lot of time in outreach to say, this is not a takeover. This really is a merger of the two companies and the two cultures. And then maybe the final thing that allowed sort of the people part and the culture to integrate, and again, maybe not the most popular decision that the board and I made, but we decided at the leadership team, well, firstly at the board, we added 3 new board members designated by Lockheed, but at the executive leadership team level, the level that reports to me, we made a decision to put in those jobs the people who we thought would be best for the company going forward. And here we are 14 months later, and we're about 50-50 Leidos Lockheed. And I can't overemphasize how important the tone at the top is. And we have a lot of people say, well, we're going to put the best person in the job, best athlete kind of a thing. And then you look a year or 2 years later and it's all the management team from the acquirer. Well, that's not what we did. And we have 4 P&L units. 2 are run by Heritage Leidos people and 2 are run by Heritage Lockheed people. And I think every employee notices that. And that was important to set the tone that we did this for a reason, to create collaboration and the cross-linkages between the company. And the best way to do that, the only way to do that, frankly, is by integrating the people. And so not only do we stack the businesses, the lines of businesses and the contracts, but we really restacked the people from the board and the executive leadership on down. Okay, great. Any more? Anybody else?
Roger, thank you very much for joining us today, and great presentation, great question. And we do have a token of appreciation for your presentation today. Please accept this. And
Great, thank you.
thank you very much.
Good, great, great, thank you.
Take care. Thanks again, Roger. And before we wrap up, a couple of things. One, we look forward to seeing you on, I believe, November 14th and 15th for the Capital Cybersecurity Summit. It's going to be a great event, so look forward to seeing you there. And in addition, I believe on December 11th is our NVTC Tech Banquet. That's going to be a great event, so look forward to seeing you there. As you leave, please make sure you take your name tags and leave them either on your table or one of the receptacles. And with that, thanks again for coming today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.